So hopefully I'll be able to touch on everything from small church scenarios all the way up to mixing in stadiums and all the stuff that kind of keeps it all together. Now, my main point through all of this is, we have our creative audio engineer side of this, but my main point that I want to touch on is what matters, what stands in the way of what matters, and what really doesn't matter and needs to be pushed to the side. Because I could do a whole class tonight this morning, on mic techniques and plug-in chains and reverbs and pre-delays and all that stuff. But we can all learn that stuff on YouTube. And I would rather touch on all the things that get in the way of how we can express ourselves as artists. Because a lot of times I feel that engineers are kind of maybe thrown into the corner of okay, you're just like a grumpy old button pusher and knob turner. But I feel like within audio engineering, we are just as much a part of the artistic side of things as a guitar player, as a singer, as a drummer. Is anybody with me on that? Good. Cool. So I work outside of my professional deal with Toby. I work with a ministry called People Loving Nashville. We started 8 years ago, and we feed homeless people in town here in Nashville. So it's about 250 people we serve every Monday. So we picked Monday because touring schedules is usually Thursday through Sunday. Okay. So on Monday we go, all right, we grabbed a bunch of roadies, and we're like, hey, let's make some food and let's just serve it. We've been doing that, like I said, for about 8 years now. A friend of mine named Davey said, hey, I got an idea. Sometimes when we're serving, there's a guy that comes down, he's playing his guitar, singing a song, or somebody playing a harmonica, and he's like, I got an idea to record, a few guys, and maybe we could put together a small record or a small EP. And I was like, that's cool. So he got a few of us together, and we sat down and started to brainstorm on what that would look like and how that would work. So within that circle of 5 folks, there was 4 of us that were just we could do this, we could do that, we could call our producer friends, we could go into this church, maybe they got a great, recording studio, or we could even just do it in our house, we could do it on the streets. There was one guy that was really quiet the whole time, just kind of looking down. I'm like, dude, what's going on, man? What's up? What are you thinking? He's like, man, I've done this before. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I've this idea. I've done this. I've recorded a homeless guy and his song with a guitar. And I was like, well, dude, you've already done it. Tell us the story. So he said, okay. So we grabbed this guy and we said, hey, dude, your song is awesome. You've got a great voice. It's a full tune. Let's bring you into this recording studio. I got a buddy who's got an engineer. He's got a full, array of microphones, and he can record this, and we'll put it on CD, and we'll just give it to you. And he's like, cool, sure, I'll do that. So they got into the studio, and you can imagine, a guy coming off the streets getting into a Nashville, ritzy, big studio, sitting down on a stool. They put headphones on him, they get his guitar mic'd up just right. They got the 2 condenser microphones on there, and they got these other guys, he doesn't even know it, they're coming in and plugging things in. And then they talk to him in his headphones. They're like, hey, can you hear me? He's like, yeah, I can hear you. They're like, okay, we're going to go off into the booth, and then we'll record this tune. So, everything is looking pretty good for this to come together. They're like, hey, let's do a little sound check. So they do a little sound check. They're like, okay, everything's working great. We're going to hit record, and we're off to the races. So they hit record. He starts playing. Gets through the first, second line, and he's like, okay, I'm sorry, guys, I got to stop. He's like, okay, it's no problem. Just take a deep breath. Everything's fine. It's all good. Whenever you're ready. He's like, okay, I'm ready. Starts to play again, second, third line of the first verse. Guys, I'm sorry, I don't know, there's something wrong here, I just can't get it. And they're like, and then the guy, my buddy Jonathan, was like, man, we thought this could work. He had a great voice, he has a great song, the scenario's awesome, we got great microphones, everything, the environment's perfect. And the sad part of this story is at the end of it, the guy was like, I can't do this, guys, I'm sorry. And he had to hang it up, and they didn't get the recording. So I asked myself, I'm like, why the heck did that happen? And I thought through, when I got asked to speak for this, I thought through, we can do all these technical things. But then I remembered that story, and I thought, wow, all the best gear, all the best people, everything's perfect except for the environment. And the environment choked the creativity.